with the judge and getting right back to Veterans Treatment Court. So you were saying in Buffalo, New York, somebody had started something.
Excuse me, Judge Russell back in Buffalo, New York, started the first ever Veterans Treatment Court in 2008. So this was early 2011 when he came and talked to me about it. And he said, I'll volunteer to be the defense attorney. I think you should be the judge, and let's start one here.
Well, define, first of all, what does Veteran Treatment Court mean?
Sure. Veterans Treatment Court, the way it works is the other courts, they refer all their veterans who are interested in the Veterans Treatment Court to my court.
Okay.
And so every Thursday from about 12:30 on is dedicated to the veterans. So I just cleared my docket for that.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So Veterans Treatment Court is about getting those veterans with PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, other mental health issues, alcohol and drug addictions, getting them into the program and getting them on track. When I first started, we had a lot of, Vietnam veterans that still hadn't really gotten help. Some of which were homeless for a decade, and so then ultimately they get in the program, we get them evaluated. It's a voluntary thing. First off, they have to volunteer to be in the program because it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Most of them it takes over a year, usually around a year and a half, sometimes 2 years in the program. And so we get them assessed to see what their issues might be. And then we establish a treatment program based upon that.
That's great. That's like a basic training in a different way, getting your life together.
It is, and quite frankly, my position as a judge in there, I think it's kind of threefold. Yeah, I'm a judge, maybe 1/3 a judge, 1/3 company commander, and maybe 1/3 father figure, even though a lot of them are older than me.
Yeah, but you bring that wisdom and that care. Oh.
It's just I think the real, the most important aspect of it is we utilize mentors who are veterans who volunteer their time to mentor these individuals. And right now we have 2 mentors for every veteran in the program.
That's great.
And it's invaluable. These mentors, talk to them, and it's somebody they can confide in. The mentors don't work for me. They're there for the veterans in the program.
That's fantastic.
And initially it was tough finding mentors. I was going everywhere and trying to encourage more mentors, and now
Did they volunteer?
Oh yeah, it's all volunteers. None of them get paid.
But now you don't have any trouble finding mentors.
Now they just a lot of times show up, or their friends a mentor, or even graduates of the program are eligible to become mentors after a year after they graduate. And so we've got a number of graduates from the program.
Oh, that's...
And some of the stories and the changes in their lives are incredible. First off, it's intensive treatment depending on what their problems are. Every single day they have to call in to see if they're going to be tested for alcohol and drugs, because there's a prohibition against that. Not that everybody has an alcohol and drug problem, but we can't know whether they're masking other issues.
Right.
Unless we...
Well, I had a little problem. My father, World War II veteran, had that post-traumatic stress, and I really had a problem when we went to the doctors and they wanted to put him on psychotropic drugs like Haldon and different things. And I say, look, yeah, he had something trigger that he thinks he's fighting the Japanese. But I said, if you will get him the right treatment, and half the time I was like, I want that disconnected. You're not giving him that drug. And I had to be a proactive fighter. And, I know there's times when, they got to have a special attention, but I want him not getting so much drugs and getting like your kind of care.
And quite frankly, we had some issues when we first started, and still some, but the VA was quick to give them opioids, painkillers, and then a lot of times it ends up in heroin and other opioids as well. that's a little less of a problem now, but still an issue that we deal with. But if I can tell you just a story about, we've had 154 graduates.
Wonderful, congratulations. I'm so grateful to you. Okay, go on.
And in fact, because it's in 2 weeks, about 12 days from now, we have another graduation, and it looks like 3 more graduates. But I'll give you one example of out of the 154. I had a young man who served 3 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq as a combat medic. So
that's tough.
He had people dying. Experienced a lot of things that
I think
people should
medics
have.
are actually the real heroes because they go without protection for self, and they're there for every bloody call to help. Yeah, they're the heroes.
He certainly was a hero, and he became a victim of an improvised explosive device.
Yes.
And sustained some injuries and some
God bless him.
mild traumatic brain injuries. But his big problem was PTSD, and so he ends up, after the injuries and the explosive device getting out, when he came to our program with severe PTSD, he had 5 daughters, aged 6 months to 7 years old. And he had tried committing suicide on 3 separate occasions.
That's sad. That's so hard.
And he gets into the program, and like most, and I think kind of like when you go to basic training, it's similar. You hate the drill instructors.
Yes.
And I'm sure most of them hate me when they start.
Because you got to be a tough dad.
Well, it is. I mean, it's the carrot and the stick. I mean,
Right,
the carrot is ultimately their case is dismissed and the record's sealed if they make it through. But it's intense, and I have to feel comfortable that they're on the right track.
Before you do that.
Before
Now,
you do that.
I had somebody ask me when they knew you were coming on, ask you to clarify the difference between a record being sealed or expunged. Is there a difference?
In Nevada, not really. In Nevada, we seal records.
Okay.
We don't smooth.
Okay. Okay.
Seal.
But once it's sealed, it should be
It
for the rest
should.
of their life not show up.
Correct.
Okay.
And they don't have to acknowledge it if they.
So when they graduate and they went on a job interview, they don't have to divulge. That's sealed. Oh, so I think that's good.
So yeah, that's one of the big benefits for them in the program. But the bigger benefit is that they get on track.
They get some quality to have a life. They have their life back.
Correct. So this young man ultimately makes it through the program and graduates. And this last December, I get an invite to go to his college graduation at UNLV. He got his bachelor's degree. And I'm always amazed how many of them remain in contact and stop in every 6 months.
Because
a year,
you made such a change in their life.
And it's not me. We've got so many great volunteers.
It's the whole program, and it made an impact in their lives.
In fact, I just feel so blessed because right now I have 4 defense attorneys who are all veterans themselves who volunteer. They're partners in law firms. They're very busy individuals that volunteer all this time every Thursday plus extra hours.
But they're veterans, right? And they have a heart for veterans. And
absolutely.
I always say those who have borne the most suffering become the most compassionate and do the most for others.
Well, it's also, you'll find that the mentors, most of them will say, well, I get more out of it than they put in. Because it's helpful for your own sake if you're helping others.
When you do good for others, it's a healing thing for you.
Absolutely.
I had a fiance that didn't come back from Vietnam. He stepped on one of those devices about 3 weeks before the wedding. And, grief works different for different people. For me, since David's untimely death and I was a teenager, I get help when I go. Sometimes I'm all day at a veterans clinic because I get there to deliver blankets to dialysis veterans. And then I sit around and, did you need me to read because you can't see or whatever? I have healed over the years by being present when I can for them.
I think
And somebody asked me one time, I was in New Mexico, and they said, you're talking to this veteran, and you're talking, and then you're reading to them, and sometimes you're singing with them. And I said, I don't have a voice, but they appreciate it. And the thing is, it's healing.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
So what you've done is your program. And first of all, before we go further, tell people how they can donate and help your program.
Well, we do. We started off. We had. It was just volunteers, and we still have nobody that gets paid actually in the program. But there are a lot of expenses associated with the program.
Right.
Like I mentioned, they've got to call in and get tested. That gets very expensive. I give out a lot of bus passes and those kind of things.
But they cost.
But they have to get where they're going. So there's expenses. And so we do have a nonprofit. I can't ask for donations, but I can say it's Henderson Veterans Treatment Court.
Did you hear that, people? I want you to write a check and get it to Judge Stevens, to Henderson Veterans Treatment Court. Let's help our veterans get on the bus. Let's help them get to what they need to make a difference for them.
And I will say the state of Nevada provides some grant money as well, which has been helpful. Because I don't want any veterans to not get in the program because they can't afford. So that hasn't been a problem because we're.
So then people like Congressman Titus are behind you, and some of the other in the legislature,
and even our local mayor, Deborah March in Henderson. Her son was a ranger and the victim of PTSD and physical injuries, Silver Star, Purple Heart.
Okay, so she has a real heart for the program, I bet. Yeah, Mayor March, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to have her on the show.
Yeah,
she'll come talk about Veterans Treatment Court, too.
And about her passion for veterans.
Well, and how's her son doing?
Very good. He's doing very good now.
Thank God.
And, I think he's a game warden somewhere. Yeah, so he loves his job, and I think he's doing well.
So that's wonderful.
So, this gentleman I was talking about with the combat medic, ultimately, I go to his graduation, and now he's just moved to Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay.
He's going to Georgetown to get his master's, and his daughters are all doing wonderful. They're all getting A's.
Oh, isn't that great?
And it's not just about helping that veteran. It's about the family and their friends and relatives.
And how many?
It impacts a lot of people. I mean, it sounds 154 veterans. That's not that
but
many.
You add that on how many help because of it, and you're changing lives. You're making a difference.
Well, and it's not me.
It's a program. It's a program. I get that, and I'm humbled and honored by sitting next to somebody saying, "Yeah, it's not me. It's more than me," and that's a beautiful trait.
Well, it's the truth.
Giving
it's
credit.
Not me.
It's a team program.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we are just so thrilled to have Judge Mark Stevens with us, and I'm just really, really thrilled to have you. So continue telling us. You graduate. How often do you graduate your guys for the course?
We do it every.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to break. We'll be back and talk about graduation in a few minutes. Thank you.